to Creepy True Stories, where reality takes a spine-tingling twist. Brace yourselves for a journey into the unknown, as we unearth chilling tales and unsolved mysteries that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Prepare to be captivated, intrigued, and haunted by the truth, because here, the darkness has a story to tell.
Story 1, The Malevolent Matinee. Once, in the heart of Hollywood, there stood the majestic Grauman's Chinese Theater, where the stars' footprints were immortalized. On a cold, fog-laden night, a group of friends decided to explore the theater after hours, curious to see what lurked in the shadows of Hollywood's golden age. They snuck in, their footsteps echoing through the empty corridors. Inside the darkened theater, they found an old film reel labeled The Lost Masterpiece. Intrigued, they threaded it onto the ancient projector and turned on the flickering beam of light. As the film began to play, the audience was gripped by a disturbing tale. It depicted the theater's past, showing scenes of murder, betrayal, and unspeakable horror. The audience was frozen in terror as the screen revealed an eerie figure in the background, silently stalking the characters. Just as the climax arrived, the film jammed, the theater plunged into darkness, and a malevolent whisper echoed, "You should have never come." In the inky blackness, they felt icy fingers brush against their necks. Lights suddenly flickered back on, and there, on the screen, was a ghostly figure with a ghastly grin. The film reel unspooled with a deafening screech, and the apparition lunged from the screen towards them. Their screams echoed through the theater, chilling the very foundation of Hollywood's iconic haunt. But it was the unsettling realization that they had become a part of the cursed movie, forever trapped in its sinister narrative, that sent shivers down their spines. The theater's ornate ceiling loomed high above, adorned with intricate dragon motifs, their eyes now watching with an eerie malevolence. As the ghostly figure launched from the screen, the audience scrambled in terror, their desperate cries echoing through the theater. The ghostly apparition, a malevolent entity formed from the cursed film reel, had leaped into the real world, and it hungered for the souls of the living. The friends, paralyzed with fear, realized they were trapped in a surreal nightmare. With each step the ghostly figure took, the theater's temperature plummeted, and a haunting tune filled the air, a dirge-like melody that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality. It was the soundtrack of their impending doom. One by one, the entity reached out its ghastly, translucent hand, and as its fingers brushed against their skin, the sensation was like ice searing through their veins. A sense of despair descended upon them, a bleak realization that there was no escape from this spectral monstrosity. As the last member of the group felt the ghostly hand close around their throat, their vision blurred, and they lost consciousness. When they awoke, it was as if the theater had swallowed them whole. But the ghostly entity was gone, the cursed film reel was no longer coiled in the projector. The friends had been released from its grip, but their souls would forever bear the scars of the haunting matinee. They stumbled out into the moonlit Hollywood night, breathless and shaken, forever changed by their encounter with the malevolent spirit of Grauman's Chinese Theater. The story of their harrowing escape would serve as a grim reminder to those who dared to unlock the secrets of Hollywood's darkest corners, where the past and the present were eternally entwined in a dance of horror. The friends, shaken and disoriented, stumbled out of Grauman's Chinese Theater into the dark streets of Hollywood. They found themselves gasping for breath in the cool night air, the memory of the malevolent matinee still haunting their thoughts. Their hearts raced as they attempted to piece together the horrors they had just experienced. The theater, once a symbol of Hollywood's glamour, was now tainted by the malevolent entity they had unwittingly unleashed. Their lives would never be the same. Over the next few days, they desperately sought answers, trying to understand the nature of the entity that had pursued them. They delved into the history of the theater and discovered that it was built upon a site with a grim past. Long ago, it had been a burial ground for Native American tribes, their restless spirits seeking revenge against those who dared to disturb their eternal slumber. The friends also learned of the cursed film reel's origins. It had been created by a twisted filmmaker in the 1920s who had sought to capture the malevolence of the spirits that haunted the theater. The entity was a manifestation of that dark energy, and the film reel had acted as a conduit for its release. As they continued their research, the friends were plagued by unsettling occurrences. Objects moved on their own, and eerie whispers echoed through their homes. The malevolent spirit had not entirely left them, it seemed, and it was intent on reminding them of the horrors they had witnessed. Desperation led them to seek the help of a local paranormal investigator, who, after conducting a series of rituals and cleansings, managed to contain the malevolent spirit within the cursed film reel once more. It was locked away in a secure vault, sealed with powerful incantations. But the friends would forever carry the scars of their encounter with the malevolent matinee. They had glimpsed the dark heart of Hollywood, where the past and the present intertwined in a macabre dance, and they knew that some secrets were best left undisturbed. The Grauman's Chinese Theater remained a place of fascination and dread, a reminder that the glamour of Hollywood could hide the most terrifying of secrets. Story 2: The Resonance of the Roxy. In the heart of Hollywood Boulevard stood the legendary Roxy Theater, famous for its electrifying concerts and performances. One summer evening, a musician named David was invited to play a solo gig on the historic stage. As he strummed his guitar, the audience was entranced by his hauntingly beautiful melodies. As the night deepened, David felt an unusual connection with the theater, as though it whispered secrets from its past. The crowd swayed to the music, but it was the ghostly notes that only he could hear that drew him in deeper. When he began to play a haunting tune he'd never composed, the air grew heavy with tension. A spectral pianist and a ghostly violinist materialized, joining him on stage. The audience, initially oblivious to the supernatural trio, was now transfixed by the ethereal performance. But as the song crescendoed, the specters' faces contorted in agony, and their instruments twisted into grotesque shapes. A sudden, deafening silence enveloped the theater. The apparitions vanished, leaving behind a petrified audience and a bewildered David. With a bone-chilling revelation, David realized that the ghosts had conveyed a message through their music. They were trapped souls, forever cursed to perform in the afterlife, seeking a living musician to break the cycle of their torment. The haunting tune he had played was their plea for release. David fled the stage, leaving the Roxy Theater in haunting silence once more, forever haunted by the ghostly orchestra. The haunted tune played by David and the spectral orchestra hung in the air like an eerie mist, leaving the audience in a state of shock and disbelief. The haunting melody had ceased, and the room was once again filled with silence, broken only by the collective breath of the audience. As David descended from the stage, his mind raced with a mixture of awe and fear. He couldn't shake the feeling that the spirits he had summoned were not done with him. In the days that followed, strange occurrences began to haunt him. Mysterious violins played softly in the dead of night, and spectral hands appeared in his mirrors, beckoning him. His obsession with the spirits led him to delve deeper into the Roxy's history. He discovered a dark secret from the theater's past. In the early 1930s, a talented orchestra had met a tragic end during a performance gone terribly wrong. The audience had perished, and the musicians had been trapped in the Roxy ever since, cursed to play for eternity. The spirits wanted their freedom, and they believed David was their key to salvation. Each haunting note was a desperate plea for release, a cry for help to finally break the chains that bound them to the Roxy. David felt a deep sense of responsibility. He decided to return to the Roxy and play the song once more, this time with a new composition, one that conveyed their plea for liberation. As he stood on the stage, the audience held their breath, unaware of the spectral orchestra lurking just beyond their sight. As David played, a surge of otherworldly energy filled the room, the violins and pianos resonating with agony and longing. The spirits appeared, their faces twisted in anguish, but this time, their instruments transformed into celestial forms. In a crescendo of music and emotion, the spirits were set free, vanishing into the unseen realms from whence they had come. The room filled with an eerie, beautiful light, and the audience watched in awe as the theater's stained history began to heal. The Roxy was no longer a place of malevolence, but a sanctuary for those who sought solace in its hallowed halls. David, forever changed by his encounter with the spirits, left the Roxy that night knowing that he had played a role in bringing peace to the tormented souls of the past. The legend of the Roxy Theater's haunted orchestra would persist, but it would now be a story of redemption and release, a testament to the power of music to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. The spirits that had once been trapped were finally at rest, their mournful tunes transformed into the melodies of freedom. The spirits' release left the Roxy Theater forever changed. It seemed as if a weight had been lifted from the old building, and its atmosphere transformed from one of oppressive sorrow to a newfound serenity. The dark history of the haunted orchestra was replaced with a sense of closure, and the Roxy became a place of healing and renewal. David, despite having played a pivotal role in freeing the spirits, found himself haunted by his own experiences. The memories of the spectral orchestra lingered, and he couldn't escape the feeling that they were watching over him, their ethereal presence a constant reminder of the supernatural world he had touched. He continued to perform, composing music inspired by the events at the Roxy, and his compositions resonated with a haunting beauty that captivated audiences. His fame grew, and he became known as a musician with a unique connection to the spirit world. As the years passed, David's own life took a twist that he could never have foreseen. He fell in love with a woman named Sarah, who had attended one of his performances. They shared a deep bond, but Sarah had a secret of her own. She was a medium with a special gift for communicating with the spirits. Together, David and Sarah decided to return to the Roxy Theater, guided by a shared purpose. They wanted to honor the spirits that had found release in the music, to pay their respects to the past and the newfound serenity of the historic venue. As they stood on the stage, David played a melody that had become a testament to the enduring connection between the living and the dead. Sarah's gift allowed her to communicate with the spirits, and as the music filled the theater, the presence of the long-freed orchestra returned. The spirits appeared one last time, not in agony but in gratitude. They nodded in acknowledgement, and with a final, ethereal bow, they dissipated into the unknown. The Roxy Theater, now a symbol of both Hollywood history and spiritual release, seemed to glow with an otherworldly light. David and Sarah left the Roxy that night, knowing that they had completed a profound and haunting chapter in the theater's story. It would no longer be remembered solely as a place of ghostly torment but as a venue where music had bridged the gap between the realms of the living and the dead. Their love and shared connection to the supernatural world became their legacy, a testament to the enduring power of music and the timeless bond that can exist between the living and the departed. The Roxy Theater remained a place of mystery and enchantment, but now, it held a sense of peace, closure, and the beauty of life beyond the veil. Story 3: The Phantom Premiere. The historic Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel was known for its opulence and secrets, housing the elite of the entertainment world. One dark, stormy night, a renowned film director named Robert checked into the hotel, carrying an unmarked reel of a film he was eager to premiere to an exclusive audience. In the grand ballroom, Robert prepared for the screening. The room was dimly lit, adorned with antique mirrors and ornate chandeliers. As the film began, eerie figures gradually materialized within the mirrors, their ghostly eyes locking onto Robert. The film unraveled the sinister history of Hollywood's dark secrets, implicating those who had conspired to bury the truth. The audience was oblivious to the phantom presence surrounding Robert, but he was acutely aware that the spirits were here for retribution. As the climax approached, the lights flickered, casting unsettling shadows across the ballroom. In the mirrors, he saw the ghosts reaching out, their faces twisted in rage. The reel ended abruptly, and the ghostly figures materialized in the room, their spectral hands closing around Robert's throat. With a final scream, the lights went out, and the audience was plunged into darkness. When the lights returned, Robert's lifeless body hung from the chandeliers. The room was filled with the ghastly whispers of the spirits, their vengeance finally sated. As the audience fled in horror, they realized the shocking truth: Robert had been the one who had betrayed the spirits, and his own film had sealed his fate, making him the star of a chilling Hollywood premiere that would be talked about for generations. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel bore witness to the unsolved mystery of Robert's death, an event that would forever remain shrouded in intrigue. As word of the director's demise spread, it sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, leaving many to ponder the circumstances of his gruesome end. News outlets were abuzz with speculation, conspiracy theories, and ghostly tales surrounding the Grand Hotel. Some believed that Robert had inadvertently released a malevolent spirit from the dark underbelly of Hollywood, and this vengeful entity had exacted brutal revenge. Paranormal investigators flocked to the Roosevelt, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. Their investigations uncovered eerie phenomena, from unexplained whispers in the corridors to apparitions that seemed to materialize from thin air. It was as if the spirits of Hollywood's past had come to life, seeking to expose the secrets buried beneath the hotel's glamorous facade. As the investigations continued, a researcher stumbled upon an old journal hidden away in the hotel's archives. It belonged to a former employee who had witnessed strange occurrences in the hotel during the 1930s. The journal detailed a sinister event that had taken place on the night of Robert's ill-fated premiere. According to the journal, the hotel's basement held a secret that had long been forgotten, a hidden chamber where a group of wealthy, influential Hollywood figures had once gathered to conduct dark rituals. These rituals were said to have bound malevolent spirits to the hotel, using a cursed film reel as a conduit. The basement chamber was located beneath the very ballroom where Robert had screened his film. It was believed that the cursed film reel had been created in that very room and that the malevolent spirit had been unleashed when the reel was played. The journal entries hinted at a way to confront and perhaps even banish the vengeful spirits. It involved a ritual that could only be performed by a living descendant of one of the individuals who had conducted the original dark ceremonies in the 1930s. A distant relative of the group's leader, who had perished in the basement chamber during a botched ritual, was tracked down. They were convinced to return to the hotel, where a circle of paranormal investigators gathered in the fateful basement. As they conducted the ritual, the malevolent spirits manifested in a whirlwind of anger and despair. The room quaked, and the air grew thick with tension. The descendant, guided by the spirits of their ancestors, confronted the vengeful entity, making a solemn promise to release it from its torment. With a final, haunting wail, the malevolent spirit was released, and it dissipated into the unknown. The basement chamber fell silent, the curse finally broken. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel's dark secret had been unveiled, and the spirits of the past found release and redemption. The hotel would forever bear the scars of its haunted history, but it was no longer a place of malevolence. It had become a symbol of resilience, a testament to the enduring power of truth and redemption in the heart of Hollywood, where the ghosts of the past had finally found their peace.